Hello and welcome to On the Sunny Side. I'm Sunny Greneveld, and here on the Sunny Side, I interview every week people who are shaping the digital economy and who are using tech for good. Now, this week's guest is Dani Bar-Gera. She is building up the plug and play office here in Switzerland, and I'm so excited to have her. Dani, welcome to F15. Welcome to On the Sunny Side. Good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm really excited for a conversation.
So, I always start with five quick questions. First one, are you a morning or a night person?
100% a morning person. Get up, do things, get active during the day, but then on the other hand, by 9 or 10 p.m., I'm usually completely out.
So, if I gave you a time machine, you could travel anywhere, anytime, where would you go?
So I think that is really interesting. On one hand, I'd really like to see what has happened and if our records are true and really show what happened. And then on the other hand, I'd really like to see what would be in like maybe 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. So anywhere you want to send me, I'll go.
Traveling back to the present, what is a question that is top of mind for you right now?
That is a really, really an interesting question because I'm currently looking into how can we still be an economy that is looking for being better, faster, bigger, just going and growing all the time, but then at the same time looking at this new trend of sustainability and equality and getting everyone else who is falling behind on the Western world and getting them up to speed and giving them the same opportunities that we have here. So how do we balance it over the long term? In one hand, improving our economy and improving all the standards that we have, but then not depleting our planet completely.
What is success to you?
Successes for me is two things. One, in a very literative way, if I set a goal and I reach it, so no matter what, if it's in education or fitness or I don't know, whatever you want, reach your goal, and that is success for me. On the other hand, when you're successful, it gives you a certain kind of freedom. It gives you, depending on what you're aiming for, freedom of your choice, financial freedom. So generally, being successful means that I'm free to do what I think is right.
When it comes to plug and play, you're really interested in at the end of the day enabling innovation, enabling corporates to innovate, enabling startups to collaborate with corporates. What is it about innovation that is important to you? Why do you care about innovation?
I think that plays into what I've touched at before in getting an equal world and having innovation and having new strategies and having new opportunities being accessible for everyone. So especially for plug and play, we look at it in an open innovation kind of idea. We're trying to get people from all over the world getting access to all of these opportunities that when you look out of your siloed thinking and start to interact and network with people outside of your usual or of your comfort zone, suddenly completely new opportunities and improvements are possible. And I think that is what is driving me really. That is maybe even my why, like bringing together people that can improve everything that we have until now.
What does plug and play do for those who don't know the organization?
Plug and Play is quite a big organization. Our driving factor is open innovation. So we want to make innovation accessible to each and every one that is interested in it. That means we're built out of three kind of pillars. One is we have a VC, as everyone knows it. We find, scout fantastic startups worldwide. We invest in them and we support them in any way we can. That is one thing. The other two parts, they're a little bit more interconnected. They're a little bit more independent. And that is one is our startup accelerators, our programs, where startups get voted in. Those startups get then a program that they go through mentorship, interactions with big corporates. They do pilots with our partners. And then the third part is our corporate innovation part. That is when we work with about more than 500 partners, corporate partners that we have worldwide. So anything from banks to car manufacturers, over insurances or pharma companies, really anything. We work in 18 industries. That means that we don't look at it as the innovation in a siloed way, but we really try to bring innovation also cross collaboration between these industries, bringing together someone who's from the insurance business with a car manufacturing, looking what they can do together. So really just this idea of open innovation. Plug and Play currently is working in 18 countries, 36 locations totally, with 500 people. We are built out of an operational team, obviously venture analysts and venture associates, and then also our partner success managers who are the key drivers and the corporate innovators. Plug and Play really has been founded in 2006, but the groundwork has been done by our founder and still CEO, Saeed Amidi, already in the 1990s. Started out of Stanford, having had a little bit too much office space, invited a couple of young, cool people to work there, and then started with his investment journey. And that is really how Plug and Play developed into the innovation leader that we are on right now.
When you look at Europe and perhaps Switzerland specifically, what role do you think corporate innovation will play? Because, I mean, from my understanding, also having worked myself for a startup in Silicon Valley, a lot of the digital pure players really have started out there. They didn't have any legacy systems. They didn't have really anything that they needed to transform within their organization. But they started on a clean slate. In Europe, you have so many big enterprises, lots of legacy systems. And the question for many is, how will they actually transform and be ready for an increasingly digital future? What role do you see corporate innovation playing here? And are you optimistic at all that we will succeed in doing this kind of large-scale digital transformation of our economy?
I am an optimist by heart, and that is, otherwise I think I'd lose hope to even try and do something and change, have an impact on this world. So yes, I am optimistic, but that is, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do my job. I see that, especially in Switzerland, if you look at it, it's such a pioneering country. There's great ideas, there's fantastic schools. Everyone wants to know, there's this drive to really be the best. Some of the best screws in the world are being manufactured somewhere in the woodlands of Switzerland. Some parts of the NASA rover are from Switzerland. We're really good at very specific things that we do. What we lack a little bit, and we, as in include myself, I am Swiss, I really want to improve this in this country. We lack a little bit of this broader sense and maybe a bit more of a risky behavior. So a little bit more of a risk appetite in investing and growing. Being good in Switzerland is great, but how about we take all of our expertise and grow it out further? What the Silicon Valley does so well, they're just grow. It's all about scaling. It's all about being risky and then having a bit of encouragement, and sometimes even go through with ideas that don't seem to be that clever, but in the end they work out because someone had the drive to do it. So for Switzerland, what I wish for us to be more is a little bit more risky. Very simple.
When it comes to this collaboration with startups, I've been working in a similar space in the past. I mean, there's just all kinds of misconceptions in the sense that I think startups want to work very quickly and move ahead, have a certain dynamism. Corporates tend to be more regulated, tend to be more aware of the risks of all the things that could go wrong. I'd say startup founders are sort of focused more on all the things that, if given a chance, could go right. How do you navigate this relationship? How do you build the relationship being the innovation platform that you are with Plug and Play?
That is really our core business, I'd say, to translate between the two different cultures. So one, that corporate culture, that's how we always did it. We've been doing that for the last 100 years. We know what we're doing. And then the startups who are very courageous and a little bit crazy. So this is our bread. This is how we earn money, and this is what we're good at, is because we know how to translate it. One reason why we're really good at is because our teams are relatively young. So they understand both sides. They understand the corporate side, and they understand the startup side. The other reason why we're really good at it is also, and how we navigate it, is that we have local people. So we have, on one hand, we have this Silicon Valley culture of drive and courage, trying new things. And on the other hand, we have people on the ground that really listen to whoever is involved on the corporate and on the startup side. Listening, understanding the job that has to be done, rather than what I want to sell and what I want other people to do. That is what makes us so good at what we're doing. And that is how I would navigate any sort of situation that I have.
To wrap up the conversation, what would be a piece of advice that you would give either to the startup side or to the corporate innovation side in terms of moving forward and being truly effective at innovation?
Two things. One is listen, understand what really is needed. There's a lot of startups that do great things. They're just not needed at the moment, and that's why they can't get into the market. At the same time, listen from the corporate side, understand what startups are even offering. What can we do? Try to explore the space, and listen to your customers. Always listen what job really needs to be done. That's the only way to be effective. And the other thing, and that ties really into it, is network. Open up your spectrum, listen to everyone around it. Sometimes people that think very differently might have an input that could change your idea to the better. So network, connect with people who are outside of your circle, and then really listen to what they say.
So last question. What is a book that you recommend that has also shaped you in your view of the world and of innovation?
It has less to do with innovation. It has to do more a little bit with how to create the space that you need for yourself. And it's a book that I recommend to anyone who hasn't read it. And that is Atomic Habits from James Clear. It goes one into your private life, how to shape the habits there, but then also how to create frameworks within your teams and between different teams, how to implement these processes to get the best results that you can.
Well, I can second that recommendation. Thank you so much, Danny, for being here on the show. And all the best. And thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great fun. I'm really looking forward to future conversations.
So here on the sunny side, I look forward to having many more conversations with people who are shaping the digital economy. If you enjoyed this one, please do click subscribe, leave me a comment or any idea or feedback that you'd like to share on the comment section below. And I hope to see you back here in a week on the sunny side.